How far is it from the fields of America to America's dining room? For several decades now, trucks have been the beasts of burden that deliver what America needs. What kind of person does it take to drive the beast? These men and women don't just jump in, kick it into gear, and start steering down the road. They have to have commitment. Life in the beast isn't easy. To keep it under control, they have to plan and prepare. They have to adjust when things don't go as planned. The smallest mistake can be catastrophic. They have to deal with daily challenges that most people would find monumental. Through suddenly extreme weather conditions, in spite of ever-increasing expenses, they cover the miles and endure the hours with a steadfast determination that refuses to be denied. They have to be willing to sacrifice the call of the road and activities they enjoy the most. They live their life looking at the world through a windshield. Too many times to count, their seat behind the wheel has been their mobile dining room, and their cab has become the place where they shut down for some sleep. Most importantly, they have to have vision. They can't let the routine fool them. They are doing something far more crucial than just translating inches on the map into miles of asphalt. They are delivering for America. Because of them, builders can build, farmers can farm, and doctors can get the medication they need to treat patients. Because of them, busy and overwhelmed parents know exactly where to find food for their families. Because of them, the engine of this great nation's economy continues to move. What does it take to deliver for America? They know, because they are the often unseen and certainly underappreciated link in the supply chain. But here at Prime, we see them. We've been watching for 50 years. We know them. We call them our family. They are our family. Who are they? They are the best professional drivers on America's highways. They are Prime drivers. They are you. And we want you to know just how much we appreciate you delivering for America.
Good morning, everyone. And we do appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed that little video there. You are our family. We are one big family here at Prime, and we're glad that you were able to tune in this morning. And if you're watching this later, you're watching it recorded, but we are live today. We're coming to you from the basement of the Z building where we now do our meetings. This is not permanent. We are going to get back to our safety meetings. I feel that each week maybe we're getting a little bit closer. I think there's a lot more optimism now about COVID-19. I think we're getting closer. But for now, this is what we do because we do want to get information out to you every week. I'm going to start with safety. What another fantastic week you've put up. We've now had 2 just incredible weeks out there from all our operators. And when you think about it, an average week, about 16, 17 million miles our trucks drive, those that say Prime on the side. And at the end of the week, if we're looking at one accident that we had that we go, I wish we could redo that one. That is incredible. When you think of all the lane changes, all the time traffic comes to a stop, the inclement weather that you drive through, the four-wheelers, you do a fantastic job out there. And always get frustrated. I get mad when I hear people talking about, oh, truck drivers are dangerous. They're on drugs. They're just driving erratically out there. That's simply not the truth. And it's not the truth for our industry, and it's particularly not the truth for our Prime drivers. We are just so proud of you, the job you do out there. You've kept us going this past year. It's been a challenging year, but there is light at the end of the tunnel on this. So I've got a couple things I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to move into some speakers. We've kind of focused our speakers again on questions that we've gotten or concerns from operators. We try to make our topics very topical. So what we've got today, I hope will be valuable information for you. But the first thing I want to do, one of the drawbacks of COVID-19 is we have not been able to have our big functions, our picnic, our holiday party, our Highway Diamonds dinner, our Instructor of the Year banquet. And the one that I really enjoy is our Million Mile banquet. Almost 10% of our drivers right now have over 1 million safe miles at Prime. If you remember when we started that program back in the kind of the mid to late 90s, we were giving credit from other companies because we just didn't have that many drivers that had accumulated 1 million safe miles. But our nearly 900 drivers now that we have with 1 million safe miles are all those miles are driven at Prime. And we're just super proud of all those folks. And two things always come to mind when I talk about our drivers with 1 million safe miles. Number one, of course, is safety. That's incredible. That's a minimum of 7 years per million miles. And also longevity. 7 years, that can be a lifetime for a lot of drivers at a carrier. Hopefully, it's gone by very quickly for you. The time that you've given us to accumulate those 1 million miles, that tells us hopefully that you've enjoyed being at Prime. We've respected what you've done, and we've really become a family. So our 1 million mile drivers are very special to us. So without the dinners, we've been trying something new. At 3 million and 4 million, you get a check from Prime and from Robert to recognize your efforts. And we've been doing those in the Z building, the presentation of those checks. And so far this year, we've done several of them. I just want to go ahead and recognize the people that we've done checks for this year. And if you know there's a check, if Pam from Safety has told you, get yourself in here, and we have a little fun when we present those. But we've done Thomas Miller, we've done Emily Plummer, we've done Junior Jenkins and Irvin Jackson, who are both on Donnie Walter's board. It was tough to get Junior and Irvin, who goes by Pee Wee, up here, but we got them both up here from Houston, Texas. So we were really happy about those. And we also did Anthony Brown, and all of those drivers have 3 million safe miles. So that's a minimum 21 years at Prime, accident free. And then last week we did Richard Chubb. Richard's incredible. 4 million safe miles here at Prime. 28 years of safe driving to accumulate that. We now have, I believe it's about 4 million safe mile drivers, and we're going to continue to grow that. But that is just incredible to think that, number one, someone has been able to stay with Prime, has, for whatever reason, not left us, but been here that long, which is incredible. And then all those safe miles. So congratulations to all the folks that we presented those checks to. And I've got a pretty good stack on my desk. So we're just waiting for the other folks to come in. And for those of you that are just starting out, I know that seems in the distant future, but we have people that started in our PSD program. We have drivers that started in our PSD program that now have 2 million safe miles at Prime. So I don't let anyone tell me that our training program is not the best in the industry. We take someone without experience, which is fine. Believe it or not, and some drivers won't admit this, every driver out there started without experience. Sometimes that's not the impression you get when you talk to them, but everyone had to learn. Everyone started with no experience. And now we have those drivers that have 2 million safe miles that came to us as a PSD, started on that permit, went through the PSD program, went through the TNT program. A lot of them are training, and now we're recognizing them for 1 and 2 million safe miles. So congratulations to all those drivers. I talked about the topics we have today. Our first speaker is going to be Steve Wutke. Steve has got another engagement, so Steve's going to come up first here, and he always has good information about market conditions, where rates are going, our availability percentage. So we'll have Steve come up first. Then we've got Susan from the log department. We've got Christine and Shaun talking about R&R, and then we've got kind of a group of folks, because this is a group effort, talking about what is available to you for mental health. Sometimes that's something we don't want to talk about. It's left in the shadows, but mental health is important. And for drivers, I think it's incredibly important. And we do have a lot of resources available to our drivers, both independent contractors, owner operators, and company drivers. So I've got a group of folks that are going to talk about that, starting off with Matt and Sarah from Driver Health and Fitness, and then we'll move into a few other topics in that area. So we've got a lot to go. So I'm going to ask Steve Wutke to come up, and I'll see you again periodically through our taping today, but we're going to keep it moving. So Steve, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thank you. It's good to see you all this week. Hope you've had a good post-Easter week going. You know, our earnings look really good. Again, business is over the top. You know, we measure the average earnings on solos and teams on a weekly basis. And apparently, business is really good. I know it's good because I know how many loads we're turning down weekly, and it's a tremendous amount, nearly as many as we handle. So the demand is still out there. You know, we talk a lot about trying to build our fleet size again. We flattened out a little bit this past year, but we're ready to really start growing again. We're recruiting heavily, and anything you all can do to help us in that regard is much appreciated. It certainly isn't going to short you on any freight. We have a basket full. You know, this is a safety meeting. Our highest calling is safety. And I really appreciate all of the million milers that we have here. It's a tremendous feat. I know how I drive out there, and you all are missing me. And that's a challenge, I'm sure. You know, that you got a lot of people texting on their phones, distractions, and yet you all hang up some terrific numbers. So we're very grateful for that. We should talk just a little bit about the other safety element, and that's still the COVID battle that we're fighting. While we are making tremendous progress, I just don't think we should take it for granted. We should continue to mask up and sanitize and do all of the things that we know will help keep us safe. You know, Steve mentioned all of the parties and all the events that we have, and I can assure you, Robert and I miss those as much as you do. We really enjoy seeing our driver base and our in-house associates. And Steve also mentioned that we're getting closer every day to getting our breakfast with the boss in the cafeteria and having these meetings upstairs. I'm going to put pressure on Steve. I'm ready. I'm tired of this basement stuff. I like seeing the sunlight. I like seeing our drivers out there. I like the questions and the interaction. So we're working with Dr. Abraham, and as soon as he gives us a thumbs up, you'll start seeing these upstairs. And if you're in the office, we'll be buying you breakfast again. So every day, I say we're getting closer. Our team's a little bit scattered. We got people traveling again. We're a little out of sync today. I just want to take a minute and again, thank you for all that you do. I'd like to give a shout out to our veterans, you all that have served in the armed forces for our country. We thank you very much for that service. Please be safe. Robert will be with us next week, I'm sure. So we'll look forward to talking to you next week. Freight is over the top good. We need to deliver it on time and safely, and we'll continue to see these rates move north, which is a good thing for all of us. So thanks for all you do, and be safe. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. You know, we always appreciate having Steve. Robert is here almost every week. He wasn't able to make it this week, but as Steve said, he will be back next week with his comments. One thing I do want to mention is that we've talked about this, and I think with Andrea and the IT department's help, once we go back to the live meetings, we're also going to keep this format on the side so our folks that can't make it in can see the meeting live and send the questions in. That's one thing that's really neat about the way we're doing these meetings is these questions come in real time to Andrea. And I think there's going to be some questions on this next topic. So get ready, because we're going to talk about electronic logs, hours of service. Going to ask Susan to come up. I hired Susan about 20 years ago. I had no idea what I was getting. But let me tell you, there's probably no one in the industry that knows more about how these electronic logs work, particularly the OmniTrack version, than Susan does. She and her department are a great wealth of information, but there's always room to improve. And that's what Susan's goal is today, to talk about some of those areas that we could probably improve a little bit. I'm not worried about people running over hours as much as I am people that are kind of missing the dotting the I's and crossing the T's, those little things that get violations on roadside inspections. So I'm going to ask Susan to come up, and she's got some information she wants to cover, but go ahead and start sending your questions in to Andrea, and as necessary, we'll interrupt because we want to get to those questions. So Susan, come on up.
Good morning. With the CVSA road check coming up May 4th through 6th this year, we commonly call it the DOT 72-hour blitz. I thought I'd cover a few areas that are impacting logs during roadside inspections, keeping you guys from getting a clean inspection. First of all, when you're being inspected, make sure you change your duty status to on duty. You have to be on duty while the officer's with you. Second, make sure you have a paper logbook in the truck. If you don't have a paper logbook in the truck, stop at a truck stop and purchase one. We get written up for this weekly for not having that on the truck. We have them at all of the terminals, and they're free. In the back of the paper logbook is the instruction card that the officer will also ask to see. There's one for the IVG and also the MCP 200. They're both in the logbook. If you don't have a paper logbook, those cards are also on the Prime app under documents. They're labeled as MCP 200 ELD card and IVG ELD card. You can show the officer those instruction cards from the display screen on the Prime app. The user manual, we get written up for this one a few times. The user manual is actually on the display screen on the MCP 200. It's on the second page of options, and it's called MCP training. On the IVG, it's on the second page, and it's called driver training. You need to know how to send E-rods during an inspection. The E-rods are sent from the Daylog tab in the lower left-hand corner. You'll see that E-rods button. You'll touch it. The officer will tell you whether he wants it sent web services or email. He'll give you a comment to put in the comment box, usually some kind of an identifier, badge number, his name, etc., and just hit send. The 8-day tab, where you used to send e-logs during inspection, those are AOBRD format and strictly for Canada, as they haven't moved to ELD yet. Important, certify your logs every single day. We get written up weekly for someone who hasn't certified their logs. Sometimes the officers will write them up for each day that hasn't been certified, and there's 8 days on your logs in the display screen. So make sure 8 days are certified. You have to do a vehicle inspection every driving shift. Make sure you log on duty for logging that. You need to show on duty for fueling, for time spent at customers, checking in, handling the bills of ladings, putting your trailer at the dock. If you drop or hook a trailer, make sure you show on duty for that. The other thing we get written up for a lot is sleeper berth and off duty. Sleeper berth is a place inside the truck behind the seats. If you're there, log sleeper berth. If you're not there and you're not working, that's an off duty status. Personal conveyance trips us up a lot during roadside inspections. So make sure you're using personal conveyance accurately. When you choose it, you get an alert on the Qualcomm reminding you how to use it. Please make sure you review that and that you're abiding by the regulation. Yard movement, use that at customers. Probably when you arrive, it's an on-duty status. It won't record drive time until you hit 20 miles per hour. Another thing, make sure the load tab is accurate. We fill that information in when you're dispatched, but if something changes, make sure you go in and make sure all the information is correct. If you have any kind of hours of service violation or you are using PC, make sure you annotate on your logs what caused the violation or why you're using PC. They can write you up for no annotation. Qualcomm issues. Make sure you notify us if your Qualcomm's not working properly. You will have to have 8 days worth of logs with you. If your screen is black, make sure you contact us so we can email them to you so you have those available to the officer. And there are some training things that are available to you on the Prime app. There's an ELD changes right underneath the hours of service on the menu. And there's also some training videos. The ELD mandate is under the certification videos.
We do have a question about the passenger bug on OmniTrax.
Okay, so with the new split breaks, you can do a 3-hour break and a 7-hour sleeper berth break. OmniTrax changed that passenger alert to if you've been off duty for more than 3 hours in a moving commercial vehicle, they are alerting you that you need to move to the sleeper berth. They didn't take into consideration off-duty time. Maybe you were at home for 24 hours and you get back on the truck, you won't have an 8-hour sleeper berth break or a 7-hour sleeper berth break. So just disregard those. You aren't getting violated. It's more of an alert to you to remind you if you are on the truck, move to the sleeper berth.
Okay, we have another question. Can you run PC if you're going home on home time?
PC is really meant for small movements in the vicinity. If you live close by to where you drop your trailer or you finish your load, yes, you can use PC to go home. What we probably don't want you to do is be using PC out of hours to go a long distance. Make sure that you have hours available. It's really meant for small in the vicinity movements.
So if drivers are new, who do they reach out to if they have any questions?
Your log advisor. So we have a log advisor for every fleet manager. If you go to the My Prime app under My Contacts, you'll be provided your log advisor, your payroll person, your road assist person.
Great, and then we have one more. What about the passenger rule violation for teams when you're sitting up front when you wake up, question mark?
Okay, so it's really not a violation. You're not getting a point for that. We haven't had anybody written up for sitting too long in the passenger seat logged off duty. What we are getting violations for are people sitting in the passenger seat logged sleeper berth. So it's just a reminder that technically you can only sit up front for 3 hours off duty. You have to have a 7-hour sleeper berth break before or after that 3 hours. But just remember, it's not giving you points internally. It's really not a violation. It's more an alert.
Okay, and we have another question. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Do you guys still use paper logs in case the Qualcomm does go out?
Yes, we do. And you have to have proof that you have a backup plan during a roadside inspection. We do provide them at the terminals, Salt Lake City, Springfield, Pittston, even the Campus Inn, all have paper logbooks. If you don't have one on your truck, make sure you stop and pick one up at a truck stop until you can get to a terminal.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead, sorry, I interrupted you, Amanda.
I don't have anything else.
All right, if anybody has any remaining questions, let's just reach out to your log advisor.
Reach out to your log advisor. You'll be able to find that information on the Prime app under My Contacts.
Great, thanks, Susan. You can't say commercial when the mic's on. Go ahead.
We're back.
You're on. You're
Oh,
on.
how about that? No, I appreciate, obviously there's still a few bugs working out here and there, but that's okay. It's mostly on my part. We've got a great bunch of, it's all ladies. Just coincidentally, we haven't been able to hire any males in the log department. We've got good folks down there. We do have coverage at night now in the log department. They cover logs, claims, and safety issues. They're not there for the big issues, but they can help you on small edits or give you a little bit of advice here and there, but try to get with your log auditor during the day. The points that Susan talked about, if we could work as a group to take care of some of those simple issues like no paper logbook, not knowing how to send your E-rods to an officer, that would greatly improve our score and probably reduce the number of inspections we get out on the road. But at the end of the day, there's been a lot of challenges within the industry as we move first from AOBRDs, then to ELDs, and you've just really done a fantastic job. It's challenging. The rules do change. Some things change with OmniTrax, but just get to know your log auditor, bring your questions there, and we'll do the absolute best we can to help you with that. Nobody likes logs, but they're not going away. Okay, I promised you a little bit on R&R. I think R&R is pretty unique to Prime. There may be something similar out there. If there is, I'm not aware of it. So I'm going to ask Christina and Shaun to come up and talk about our R&R program and give you a little history about it and where we stand. So if you guys want to come on up.
Good morning. My name is Shaun Ryker, of course, Christina Kroutil. I wanted to start, we're going to talk about R&R, but I wanted to begin with congratulating the Million Mile Drivers. That's a huge accomplishment. I started out in permits, and that's where I got used to the R&R program. Kind of involved in it for several years in some capacity now. But my stint in safety, it really makes you understand the importance of what you guys drive out there every day and what goes on. So huge accomplishment for you guys. So I want to give a shout out for that. Now, as you guys are out there as independent contractors earning your million safe miles, you don't get some benefits that company drivers do. So one of the benefits, of course, is 401k as a company driver. You don't get that as an independent contractor. So, the program is kind of set up as R&R retention and rewards. The retention side is there's a time frame to it. The reward side is money gets put in there for you. So I'm going to let Christina kind of overview the program. As she's doing that, if you have any questions, of course, go ahead and shoot them through. We know a lot of them, but I guarantee you guys have some good ones. So Christina?
Good morning. Just a brief overview of the program and how it works. So it is for independent contractors, like Shaun said, as the company drivers have the 401k option. It is a 409A deferred compensation program is what the type of program that it is. Prime puts in $1,000 every year on the anniversary of your lease, and Success Leasing puts in $500. So it is a total of $1,500 every year on the anniversary of your service date with leasing, not your date with Prime. That's where we get confused a lot with people wondering why their dates or their longevity is off. So it goes by your service date. You don't have any money taken out of your check or your pocket that goes into that. You do get to choose some investment options for that money to be put into so that you can gain interest based on those. It is a 10-year vesting date. That means that's the retention part, right? You have to be with us for 10 consecutive years leasing to lock that money in to secure that. That means after that 10-year date and you have vested, if for whatever reason you decided to leave Prime, you would still receive that money once you reach the age of 65.
So
as far as the overview goes, that's pretty much.
Yeah, so go into some of the questions that you get on a daily basis
Okay.
that I'm sure they have out
A
there.
couple other things too. If you have a break-in service, so that means if you're between leases for more than 59 days or you don't have a service contract with us for more than 59 days, that is considered a break-in service. Unfortunately, you would then start over if you were not vested in the program. However, if those happen to be for medical reasons, we can oftentimes do what we call a medical exception, and we can give you that time back so that you don't lose it. It just goes on at the end of the time of your time so that you still have 10 full years. We just fix that break there if it can be a proven medical issue.
And there's a lot of questions about that, and there's some documentation that's required whenever you do come back. So if you're gone more than the 59 days and you come back for medical reasons, get with Christina right then, because normally we don't realize those until quite a while down the road when people realize they don't have an R&R account anymore and they're wondering what happened, and they're just frustration. So try in the very beginning.
Yeah, a lot of times leasing will send you guys our way or my way, but sometimes they forget or sometimes they don't think about it, or they're training new people as well. So if you know that you've been gone with medical and you are even concerned that it may have went past your time, just give me a call or come by and see me. I'll be glad to look it up for you to make sure that way we can get it taken care of as quickly as possible.
Okay, we have a couple questions. What happens to R&R when you pay off a lease purchase or do an ACE lease?
So when you go from leasing a truck to owning a truck, the only thing that really changes, as long as you're still, driving with us, is that the amount of the investment or contribution that we give you every year is just the $1,000 from Prime at that point. Once you've paid off the truck and the title is in your name, you still get the $1,000 contribution every year from Prime, but the $500 from Success Leasing does drop off.
Okay, another question along that line is, Alan said, how much do small fleet owners get annually since buying other trucks?
You only get the retention reward on one truck. So you can have as many trucks as you choose to do, but you only get it on one.
And this is not about R&R, but I put that you were in the TWIC office on the screen. How long should it take to receive the TWIC card? I still haven't gotten mine from putting in December.
If you haven't received it and you applied for it in December, there are a couple things that could have happened. We send out Qualcomm messages once we have your card in the office. Sometimes people miss those. They're between trucks or their trainer doesn't let them know. Or sometimes if TSA has happened to find something in your background that they have questions on, they would then mail you a letter to whatever mailing address you used in your background check. And we don't get that information. So if they send you a letter, that is your private personal information, and we don't know that. So if you want to give us a call, I'll be glad to look it up for you and see if your card does happen to be there. And if not, then we can give you more information on who to contact.
And just for people that are new, we have a lot of people that aren't here yet at Prime. What is TWIC and where are you located?
So TWIC is Transportation Worker Identification Credential. It is a federal background check that goes through Homeland Security, and it does give you access to airports, seaports, railroad yards, to pick up and drop off freight in secured areas that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. Some military bases will allow you to use them, but it is not required for them to let you use them. That is a big misconception that we hear. It is not for military bases. That is at their discretion to let you use those.
Okay, we have a question from Corey that says, how do we choose how the funds are invested for R&R?
So initially, the 8-page adoption agreement is in your first lease. If you've been with us for a long time and you don't remember if you filled it out back then, you can get with me and I can look it up for you. If you haven't filled it out, we can get that taken care of. But a good little tip to tell, if you have the Prime app and you go under My Progress and you have your retention and rewards information there. So if you have chosen investment options at some point, you're going to have an odd number. Your balance is going to be an odd number. If you have never chosen investment options, you're going to have a whole even number.
All right, question for Shaun. Someone said they signed up for insurance, but haven't seen it come out of their paycheck yet. What should they do?
Well, you should definitely call your payroll associate and find out what's going on that side of it. And their contact information is in the My Prime, My Contacts.
Perfect. And let's see, how do we, sorry, too many questions all at once. What is the renewal process like for TWIC?
So there's no renewal. You have to reapply every 5 years. It's not like when you go in and renew your license. So for TWIC, you have to do the whole thing all over again every 5 years. You have to bring in your documents. You have to do the fingerprints. You have to do the background check. And it's like a whole new process every time, every 5 years.
Tyler said, do we have to bring TWIC documents personally to Springfield, or can we email those to you somehow?
We have to have in hand actual certified copies of those documents. So it has to be a certified copy of your birth certificate, raised stamp or seal, a passport that's not expired, a hard copy non-voided driver's license. So if you've had an endorsement put on there and you have a paper license, or you're still waiting on your hard copy CDL, then we can't really do anything until you have that hard copy. If you have a permanent resident card, the expiration date on the card has to be a good expiration date. We can't use the permanent resident card with the extension letter that people sometimes have.
Charles Smith said, how early can we renew or reapply?
So TSA doesn't really like us to do it any more than 45 days before the expiration date on your card. And really you're losing money if you do it much before that, because as soon as your new card comes in, then your old one is, basically no good and you've lost that time that you paid for.
That's it on the questions. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, how do they contact you or see you in person?
I am in the TWIC office, obviously, in the basement of the Plaza building. That is where driver lineup is. We're inbound and outbound. If you just go down the elevator or the stairs, I'm back behind Linda Brown and Steve Larson.
So there's actually a couple more things I think that we get questions on. So you may have an opportunity to get some more questions in, but I wanted to mention a situation like Richard Chubb's been here 28 years. So he's met both criteria, right? He's been here 10 years consecutive without a break in service, and he's 65 years old, so he gets paid out. So after that, you still get those contributions. Instead of going to principal into an account though, it actually is either a $1,000 check or a $1,500 check, depending on your situation.
And you get that annually on the anniversary of your service date, just like it would have gone to principal. You'll be contacted by me because I'll have a check for you. I don't just put those in the mail. I always try to make contact with you guys first to make sure that either we have the correct address to send it to, or if you want to pick it up here in Springfield, then that's an option too.
They said, will having a passport pass for me having all my marriage licenses? I guess what documents are required for the TWIC?
If you have a passport that has your current legal name on it, that is the only thing you have to have, as long as it's a US passport.
I'll also mention, it's really important to make sure you keep your address updated on the retention reward side. So whenever you do get paid out, or at any point in time, if they need to send you a letter with the balance, payout, anything like that, if you move, principal only knows your address from the point that they got the information to begin with. So if you move along the way, and almost everyone does, there ends up being some problem trying to get information to you, or us trying to pay you if you're no longer with us, trying to get your payout to you whenever you turn 65 after that point. So that's two things to make sure you keep those things up to date with principal. Giving them to us does not ensure that you get it to principal. Two separate systems completely on there. So, and Christina, how can they change your address?
Yeah, and you can come into me or get with me and I can update it for you with principal. We just have to know to get the information to them. Or you can go on principal's website, set up a username and password, and then you actually have access to log in to see how your progress is. You can change your address, you can update your beneficiary, you can change your investment options. All of those things that you can choose to do on the actual principal website. Or you can come in and see me and I will help you fill out the paperwork. If you come in to see me, all of those changes have to be done written. I have to have written proof of all of those. Or you personally can go on the website and change them yourself.
Okay, we have a question from Steve Field. It says, have you mentioned the balance of R&R?
Haven't yet.
So I think that'd be a good thing so how powerful is the program, right? In general, what does it mean to me? So I think Christina or Andrea, have you been putting them up during this? Is that where?
I do have one from March.
So monthly, you'll see the balances that are paid out for that month, or the amounts that are paid out. But Christina has some totals to show you guys that I think are pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. So we have a number of 565 drivers that are currently vested in the program. The total vested fund amount is $19,667,419.70. So between those 565 vested drivers, that's how much money is vested. Our highest balance for someone right now is $117,172. That's just for one person. The average vested balance per week, if we're looking average overall, is $34,809. We do have 6 drivers vested with a balance that has over $100,000 in it. We also have $38,285,717 out there left for people that still will be vested.
All right, we'll take one more question here. Thomas said, after 65, can we choose for the contribution to continue to go to the account and build?
You cannot. The way the program is written and by tax laws and multiple other reasons, the way those 409A deferred compensations work is it does have to be paid out at 65.
All right.
So I would wrap up by telling everyone, look at your balance under My Progress. If your balance is an even number, like $15,000 or something like that, that means you're not invested in anything, in any account. So there's a difference. Invested means after 10 years, it's all of yours. Invested means you're right now, if you don't choose one, you're in a non-interest bearing account. So your money does nothing, no growth at all. If you invested into one of the 3 options, then it does. So look at your R&R balance. If it's an even number, get hold of Christina, get an investment in there, make sure it grows for you. Thank you.
Now, before I get to Matt and Sarah, I just want to circle back just for a second on the R&R program. And, I hope that really shows Prime's commitment to our driver associates. When you think about that $19 million that Christina talked about, that's not Prime money. That doesn't belong to Prime. It doesn't belong to Robert Lowe. That is the money of the drivers that has been invested. That is legally their money that if they left today, they would get their share of it. And we want to continue to grow that program. If you haven't decided on what your investment options are, kind of listen to Shaun there and take some ownership of that and decide how you want that money to be invested so it'll grow at a faster rate for you than waiting for the annual contributions. But I do want to thank Christina and Shaun for coming up and talking about R&R. Right now with me, I've got Matt Hancock and Sarah Waterman, and they got a couple of subjects today. They're going to start with driver health and fitness. We haven't talked about that for a while. And then we're going to go to mental health, and we'll bring up Drew and Brandyn for that. So, folks.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So Sarah and I have been working diligently on building up a whole new driver health and fitness program for you. One of the questions, just kind of going a short story that we had just recently in one of our Facebook groups was we had a driver say, "Sell me on DHF. Why should I join the program?" And she was under the assumption that it was still, you pay $300, it's a 13-week program. And so kind of the older fashioned way of what we used to do in driver health and fitness. And I told her this is a complete 180 from what we used to do. Currently, we got some really exciting things we're working on with building up a whole new website for our driver health and fitness program. Right, Sarah?
Yeah, that's right. So this website is going to be much more interactive. We're going to have programs that you can access at any point in time. So say you are staying up really late one night, you can't contact Matt or myself. So you can still access information on lowering your blood sugar or how to be the healthiest you can be while out on the road. It's really a community. You can also ask questions, have a portal. It's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And it's going to be everything we do in driver health and fitness is no longer that $300. It's completely free. And it's really based around what you all want as drivers out on the road. To help us with all of these programs, with our website design, we have the help of a driver health task force, which is made up of our drivers that work for Prime and some in-house folks that help us to build up these programs based on what they see as a driver that you guys need. And so they'll be helping us build up these programs, and there'll be anything from weight loss programs to blood sugar to, how do you eat healthy on the road? And you can access those 24/7, 365 through this new website. So we're really excited. We're looking to kick that off sometime in May. So it's coming up here pretty soon. And it'll be a membership portal. So you can officially have your own DHF membership, and you can go in there, do all the programs you want. And usually it would cost hundreds of dollars for something like this if you were going outside of Prime. But through this new portal, you could do it absolutely free, which is fantastic.
Yep. And like we've mentioned, completely virtual on your own time. You can always ask us questions as well, but that is going to be a great way that, you can jump on, access information right then and there when you really want it. One of the things that COVID-19 told us is how important virtual programs are. And ours has always been virtual, but we want to make sure we can reach you guys however is easiest for you. We know you're busy out there, so we want to have programs that are easy, efficient, and provide great information.
Yeah.
Question from Russell. He said, is there a sample dietary menu or meal plan already listed out on the DHF site?
Yes, there are. And it's typically based on like a calorie range, but that should be under nutrition. And then you might see meal plans. I have a lot more that I just haven't put on that website. So you can always email me at swatterman@primeinc.com, and I can provide you with another option if there's not one on there that meets your needs. But yes, they are pretty generic, but it still provides you with great ideas and just really a guide. So yeah.
Great.
I think that pretty much wraps it up. If you guys have any questions for us whatsoever, you can go to our website, driverhealthandfitness.com. At the bottom of the page, there's contact us boxes. So put your message in there. Let us know how we can help you, and we'll be glad to help you any way we can.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
We've had several questions over the last several weeks about what does Prime offer for mental health. And I talked about it early on, the importance of mental health. So I've kept Matt up here. With Matt are Drew and Brandyn, and I'm going to let them go ahead and talk about what options there are out there, what resources there are for mental health. Gentlemen?
Yeah, so through Driver Health and Fitness, we actually have Drew Dilisio here, and he is part of our help for our Driver Health and Fitness Prime for Life program that we have through Driver Health.
Yeah, so what Prime for Life is a mental health program that is completely separate from Prime. So it is offered through Prime, but we are a contracted company. So all of your information stays with us, Good Dads. We are a local Springfield company offering mental health services. It is private pay, so there's no insurance involved. It's on a very sliding scale, so it's very inexpensive compared to mental health services, usually around the $40, $50 range. And it is offered virtually. So we offer Zoom, Google Meets, whatever you would like to use. We can meet you. Usually you need to be pulled over off the side of the road if you're going to be using video of any sort. But we are flexible with schedules. And so that's what we offer.
And this is for independent contractors. This is for company drivers. This is for anybody that wants to utilize it, driving for Prime. So anybody can utilize it. You can find out more information on driverhealthandfitness.com underneath the Primed for Life box on our main page. And you can actually do a free discovery call with Drew to see if it's a program that might fit your needs. And that'll be just a 10-minute kind of introductory call to kind of talk with Drew about what the program is. And then we also have some things through the company driver side, right? And everything else.
Yeah. So really, we do have to, keep independent contractors and company drivers benefits separate. So I'll kind of go through three options that are available. The first one is for company drivers. We do have our EAP program through Anthem. You do not have to have our insurance to actually use that EAP program if you're a company driver. That is for all company drivers. If you call the EAP program, it's a lot like the last program that was discussed. You have 3 free visits with a counselor in person or over the phone. There's legal services, just lots of resources to help you out. The other option is this is for company drivers and independent contractors, Live Health Online. It's a mobile app you can download. This one, if you're a company driver and you have our insurance, on this, it's just a $20 copay for as many telehealth virtual visits with a counselor that you would need. If you do not have our insurance or you're an independent contractor, you can still use this. The only thing is their normal visits are $59, but if you're using it for therapy, it's an $80 copay, $95 for a psychologist if you need that. The last thing is independent contractors. You do have options to an EAP program if you were to sign up for enrollment first insurance. That comes with your membership with them. That would work just like the company side benefits. So there are more programs out there for you between, Matt and what we've been able to bring in through the HR department as well. So if you're having, some things you need to talk to somebody about, just reach out to one of us and we'll connect you. We've got several options.
Okay, great. And I have your video if you want to explain what you're going to show.
Yeah, so to sign up for your free discovery call for Drew and the Prime for Life program, all you do is go to driverhealthandfitness.com, go down to the Prime for Life box on the left-hand side, click on that, and then from there, there's a little section that says, right underneath the video, that says sign up for your free discovery call. So click on that, and then you'll just email Good Dads and Drew, and then they'll get you set up on your discovery call. So I really encourage you to take advantage of it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was a lot of information today. Sometimes before we start one of our videos, I worry, are we going to have enough information? But due to your questions, we've bumped up almost to our full hour. I know your time is valuable out there. I just want to add one or two things, and I'm going to turn it over to Jim Guthrie to close us out today. The terminals are open. Each of the departments, for the most part, does have people here. So if you have a question about human resources, you can visit them. Payroll has associates here every week. Safety, there are operations folks here. So don't feel that you're on your own. Sometimes it is easier to walk into the terminal. There is a bit of screening going on to ensure we're keeping everyone safe, but we do want to see you. We do want to answer your questions. If you have topics for upcoming meetings, please let us know. I would recommend that you subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Hit the bell icon so you get notification of future videos. But this is our format, and as Steve Wutke said, we are going to get back to those Friday morning with the boss just as quick as we can. Our last speaker today, I probably don't need to introduce him, Jim Guthrie. Jim's our Director of Operations on the Reefer Division. So I'm just going to ask for a couple of thoughts from Jim as we close out the meeting, and I will see you again next Friday. Jim?
Hey, thank you, Steve. Good to see everybody this morning, be on the video here. Really appreciate this talk about physical health, mental health, so important. And, obviously we're demonstrating with talk and action and people and resources that we do care deeply about each one of you out there. So utilize those resources and improve your health in any way that you can, anytime that you can. So, this has been a crazy last year. Lots of ups and downs with volatility in the economy and in the business, and can't forget about that part of the physical health and mental health as well. I've said it last week. Earnings are at an all-time high. There's never been a better time to drive for Prime. If you have folks, we need drivers. We need additional drivers to meet customer demand. There's a lot of freight that we're not able to handle because we don't have enough trucks. We got a really good opportunity here to gain market share and really improve conditions for the next several years and beyond. So we need drivers. So if you know somebody, friends, family that are quality drivers, we've got a great referral program. We have a $500 referral bonus going on right now. Additional incremental bonus in addition to our regular referral program. And, we've got some drivers that are making a ton of money on that, which we love because they're bringing in good quality people. They're helping bring them along and train them. And, they're getting rewarded off that for every mile those drivers run over time. So we got a great program. It's a great time. We've got a great training program. It's by far the best in the industry. We need additional instructors and trainers. You can talk to your fleet manager if you're interested, because we also have some bonuses, going on for the instructors and trainers right now. So we need help in every which direction, but really on the driver's side. So if you know people, get them here, get them to us, and we can certainly help. You can certainly help put them to work, get them really good earnings, and like I said, we have bonuses for our current drivers on the referral program and training programs currently. So, everybody have a good weekend. Thank you for all you're doing. Be safe out there, and God bless everybody. Thank you.